The Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship is back for the second half of the 2025 season here at Autodrome Most. It's gonna be a stunning and sunny weekend, so bear with us, it's gonna be exciting. The first half of the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship really has been a fightful one. I think Norbert Kisch really can feel the breath of Jochen Hahn in his neck, who is really eager to become first this year. So let's see how this story goes. But also talking about Chrome class, Bradley Smith and Mark Taylor, they're having quite a fight. Only 4 points are departed by them. And we will have a very famous guest around who's also gonna be driving Lucas Horn truck. Speaking about Martin Matzik, the current winner of the Dakar 2025 and 2024 in the truck category. So let's see how he's gonna be doing on a racetrack. Amazing 4 races are about to come, so set your alarm bell and see you this weekend. Can't wait. And there we are on the racetrack of Autodrome Most in Czechoslovakia, and people are looking forward to start the first race. Yesterday you had quite a good qualifying, you were back on second position, but I just said I think for the first time in your life ever you hit a marker and you got punished for hitting the marker. How mad were you?
No, this is not the rules the first time. You know, we have rules, and when we respect the rules, all is fine. And I have a contact like a smooth knuckle, you know, it's not really a contact, but it's the rules. And now we are in the position 6, third grid. It's not so bad, so now we must make racing.
Norbert Kisch would start off the weekend in his usual fashion by claiming pole position, but Antonio Albacete would get a fantastic start from the front row and beat him down towards the first corner. Norby was on the right line though to take it straight back and lead away from the front. Sascha Lenz was next up behind with Steffi Halm fighting René Reinert. Jochen Hahn had started from 6th on the grid after having a time deleted in the earlier qualifying session on Friday. Soon Norbert Kisch was starting to stretch his legs at the front and Antonio was doing his best to keep up. Jochen was making progress before we know it though, and René Reinert had soon fallen. Steffi Halm would be next. The two Ivecos went side by side through the final corners, but Jochen secured the place, getting up into 4th. Soon though, René Reinert was closing in on Steffi Halm and it looked like they were going to reignite their battle. Sascha Lenz was doing the same to Antonio Albacete as well, hoping to gain second place. Both drivers had had shaky starts to their season and were hoping to get some good points around the mid-stage. Jochen Hahn was soon on hand though to pick up any scraps if the battle kicked off. Antonio said later on that he thinks he'd overheated the tyres, but his problems were nothing compared to that of Mark Taylor. A broken torsion bar on the back of the truck went through the fuel tank, the likes of the brakes and the axle itself as well, and threw Mark off the circuit, lucky not to hit anything too hard. Jochen Hahn was looking this way and that way around Sascha Lenz, but ultimately would not be able to take the position before the end. He tried everything, putting his nose down the inside, as did René Reinert, but none of the positions would change before the checkered flag fell. René was once again doing everything he could to get past Steffi, and it was a great fight where Jose Eduardo Rodriguez fancied a bit of it as well. This fantastic cutback looked to work from Jose, but this tiny tap of contact on the exit slowed both of them down in a way that would favour René into the next couple of corners. Great battling though here at Most. It was exactly what we wanted after the summer break in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. The drivers had returned after definitely not settling down. Norbert Kisch hadn't settled either though, and out at the front he decimated the field once more in the first race of the weekend, and he secured another 20 championship points. Second place would go the way of Antonio Albacete and Sasha Lenz next up, while John Newell and Luke Garrett secured great points in the Chrome Championship. It looked like Luke was finally going to put his reliability issues behind him and score more consistent points, but we'd have to wait to see over the rest of the weekend. Norbert Kish, though, taking another win from Antonio Albacete and Sasha Lenz.
Yes, Sasha and Antonio. Antonio, we'll start out with you first. What a fight. Seems like you like most. It's like the flyover track for you, no?
Yeah, it was a little bit of hard work. By the middle of the race, I lose a little bit the front tires. I think they were a little bit overheating. So it was very easy to make a mistake. I tried not to make. Sasha was pushing a little bit. I closed the door and yeah, I mean, I was able to keep the place. So very happy for the whole team, you know. So I think it's a good result. And yeah, I think I will like to keep this pace and see if we can do the same tomorrow.
So Norbert Kish starts his weekend off in his usual fashion, winning by just over 6 seconds from Antonio Albacete and Sasha Lenz. It was a win in the Chrome class for Clemens Hecker, beating Louis Requenco and John Newell to the line. Luke Garrett just missed out on a podium, but would hope for more as the weekend went on, both Bradley Smith and Mark Taylor having troubles to start their weekends.
Yes, number 3, obviously third time on the podium for the season. Sasha, this was quite a fight, huh?
Ja, also, ich muss sagen, ich kann wieder lachen, ich kann wieder grinsen. Die Jungs haben einen mega Job gemacht, das Auto ist komplett anders da. Konnten die letzten 2-3 Runden auch nochmal pushen. Also, das, was ich die ganze Zeit nicht machen konnte, das ganze Jahr über. Und ich bin mega happy, auch für unsere Sponsoren. Und ja, großes Lob an mein Team. Voll geil.
So he finally smiling again, you can see in his face. They had a different setup beforehand and they took the time of the summer break to totally change the truck back to feeling better and being faster. And he said there was even air to push a little more. So I think we can see more of you right now, no?
Ja, ich brauche noch ein bisschen Zeit, um das Auto noch besser jetzt kennenzulernen, weil es gibt mir immer auch dasselbe Feedback wieder und dann kannst du jetzt auch versuchen, wieder an die Grenzen von dem Auto auch zu gehen. Und da fehlt noch ein bisschen was. Man hat es heute Morgen auch gestern im Qualifying gesehen. Fehlt nicht viel, aber ein Ticken fehlt noch. Ja, im Rennen hat man eine richtig gute Pace gehabt und darauf wollen wir halt aufbauen. Ne?
Number 1 has been quite an exciting one, but one guy has not been as fortunate as anyone else. Talking about Mike Taylor, but look for yourself what happened to him and his truck and if he will be back for the second race or not. Quite an unexpected talk to Mark Taylor. Expected you to be on podium. You had quite a nice pace in the first race. Could have been first place. A lot of points for you in the championship. And then Clemens Hecker told me he saw sparks behind your truck and gone nowhere. What happened?
Yeah, as we were racing, we had a good pace. We had a good start off the line, a good pace, and lap 3, I heard a noise on the truck. So I radioed through to the mechanics. They seen some of the torsion bar dangling on the back. They said, don't worry, just keep going. As we got more into the race, lap 5, it started getting a bit louder. And we were closing in for the end of the race. We didn't have many laps left. And unfortunately, as we were coming down into the complex, the torsion bar, as our brake lifted the back axle up, it dug into the floor, picked the rear axle up and spun me off the track.
Very contrasting conditions for race number 2 at Most. As usual though, the weather had blown through rapidly and changed in the blink of an eye. Thanks to the reverse grid, it was Clemens Hecker and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez on the front row, ahead of René Reinert and Steffi Halm, with Jochen Hahn hoping to gain places as well. The first lap of the race was under yellow flags for safety reasons, but then, as soon as we got onto lap 2, the green flags were out and full-speed racing could resume. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez took the lead straight off the bat, leaving Clemens Hecker to defend from the rest of the Titan drivers. René Reinert was first in the queue, followed by Steffi Halm and then Jochen Hahn. It was getting very friendly in the Titan class though, through the hairpins and chicanes of this fantastic circuit, everybody bunching up, trying to get past Clemens Hecker. It was later reported that Clemens had lost boost pressure, having issues with the truck, so he wasn't up to his usual pace, and with all the bunching behind, drivers were having to get their elbows out. A great recovery here from Norbert Kisch was soon thwarted by Jochen Hahn running wide out of the final corner. The two would have a good chat about it after the race though, and it was all constructive. Good to see from the championship contenders. Albacete and Sascha Lenz were hoping to benefit from it as well though, but visibility was quite limited, so safety was of their main concern. 2x2 into the chicane was certainly an exciting way to go about it though. With a rub here and a tap there, there was wing mirrors and pieces flying, and Norbert Kisch would eventually get past Jochen Hahn, who would suddenly have to defend from the number 3 of Sascha Lenz, while up ahead, René Reinert and Steffi Halm started to take advantage of Clemens Hecker. Pieces were flying, but it was great fun to watch. Once again, Norby was having to get back on the attack, this time trying to get by his ex-teammate Antonio Albacete. He got by quite quickly, and Sascha Lenz was helped through as well, while René Reinert led the charge. Soon René was in his own fight with Sascha and Jochen, and somehow Antonio had fallen to the back of it. There was so much shuffling going on, it was hard to keep up. By the by though, it was great racing to watch. René unfortunately had the first of a couple of visits across the grass down at turn 15. The slippery surface was catching a number of drivers out in the later stages. Norbert was making great progress in the wet conditions, somewhere where he really excels, but Jose Eduardo Rodriguez had this little slip-up that could have cost him the race victory. He soon recovered though, and held on to the spot for a while, but the lap times were tumbling, and Norbert Kisch was closing in. Jochen had to get past his teammate Steffi Halm at some point, and this dive down the inside would get the move done. Jochen was certainly on a mission to head forward and chase after his main championship rival. That would soon leave Steffi in the clutches of Sascha Lenz, the truck not quite behaving itself from the front row of the grid, and Steffi having to get those famous golden elbows out. There was a fierce battle between the two of them, a bit of leaning through turns 12 and 13, but Sascha would get the move done, albeit after a slide or two on the exit of a couple of the corners. It was another great duel between these two drivers who we'd seen fight well before, but at the front, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez would be the one who had to hold on, with Norbert Kisch and Jochen Hahn closing him down. He would take his second win as a Titan driver in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. A wonderful scene as he made it back into the pit lane to celebrate with his team.
And one big shoulder clap for Jose Eduardo. I should have given you the tiger pants before. Really, really, really good driving. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. A very difficult race with wet and dry in the same time. I tried to gain some space, but in the final with my go out the track, I fall a lot of time, but in the final victory is very good.
Yeah, I was like 11 laps was just fine for you, because we were like, but you should be a drifter as well maybe, because you really did good in drifting.
I tried to put the truck in the track. It's very difficult conditions, but in the final the victory is very good and is emotional for tomorrow.
Jose Eduardo Rodriguez takes his second win as a Titan driver, with Norbert Kisch and Jochen Hahn, two of the Titans, right behind him, less than 2 seconds covering the top three. Sascha Lenz was fourth, with Steffi Halm next up, and a big shift in the Chrome Championship once again. Bradley Smith still getting some points, but not able to overcome his main Chrome rivals.
Race day number 2 on a very lovely sunny Sunday, and we can't wait to get this one started. We had a very nice qualifying, and guess what? Who is on first position? Of course, it's Norbert Kisch. What did you expect? Followed by Jochen Hahn. They're both fighting for the 7th time European champion title. And Jochen really is in the neck of Norbert Kisch. Let's see where Norbert Kisch is. So yesterday you had quite a nice race, flying away from everyone, doing your own thing in the front. Is this going to be the same one right now?
Not sure, you never know if or what will happen. But yeah, for sure, we try to do the best we can. Hopefully a better start than yesterday. Hopefully a bit easier first turn. But yeah, Jochen Hahn is next to me. You can never count him out to try and overtake me, or try to do something. So for sure, we will have to watch out and do the best we can.
With the sun shining down on us on day 2, it was Norbert Kisch on pole position, with Jochen Hahn returning to the front row to start alongside him. Sascha Lenz and Antonio Albacete would continue their fight from the second row, and the fight was definitely on. In the Chrome class, it was mighty spicy, 2x3 out of the first chicane for the first time, as Mark Taylor tried to secure some points on a Sunday where he was actually on the track. Scary moment here between Bradley Smith, Luke Garrett and Louis Requenco was not the reason for the red flag. Martin Matzik was making his debut this weekend in Lucas Hahn's Iveco, and he had this spin on the exit of the chicane. Unfortunately, the truck wouldn't fire back up until just after the red flag was called. Still, we went ahead with the restart, got all the gravel off the track and went for a good reset. Louis Requenco was quite grateful to be back in his original starting position, but this one went even worse. He ended up off the road with Luke Garrett, and the two of them lost a bunch of positions. There was further contact up the road as well between Jose Eduardo Rodriguez and Steffi Halm. Antonio Albacete was getting battered from pillar to post. 2 big hits on the rear corners of his MAN, and he would still somehow make it back onto the circuit and carry on until the end. Everybody wanted to take a chunk out of the 23, it seems. Calling on all his experience though, Antonio kept it on the black stuff and somehow held his position as well. Clemens Hecker, now with full boost again, managed to get to the front of the Chrome class. Mark Taylor was next up, but Steffi Halm was the buffer in between. John Newell was looking to capitalise on the slightly slower than normal Bradley Smith, who wasn't having the straightforward weekend he was hoping for in the championship lead. 2 blue trucks that were rattling off each other all race were René Reiner and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. Jose Eduardo would have a problem that they'd need to fix between the 2 races, but for now, he was flying. But unfortunately, a truck that was not flying was the 24 of Stefan Faas. They had another miserable weekend full of technical issues, didn't complete a single race here at Most. Back at the very front though, Norbert Kisch was doing what he did best, winning races 1 and 3 of the weekend, and yet again stretching his legs in the championship. Jochen Hahn was much happier with a 2nd place instead of the 4th place he had on Saturday, and Sascha Lenz came home to complete another podium. In the Chrome class, Clemens Hecker took his 2nd win of the weekend, and he would be eyeing up a 3rd and a potential championship lead leading Most. Another great win for Norby, lights to flag, easy as ever.
And Norbert is just getting ready for his, I don't know how many 100th trophy. Do you know how many trophies he already won in the European Championship?
For sure not precisely, but yeah, quite a lot. I think we are well over 100 victories in my truck racing career. So yeah, really happy with today's victory as well. Because yeah, good start. Both starts was good. So I could go clear in front of Johan. And then, had a good pace, could pull away from the first lap already, I guess until the last lap. could take care of the tires and the track a little bit, because the season is really long. So yeah, overall I think very good job, very good pace, very good qualifying.
So another trophy to add to the cabinet for Norbert Kirsch. He finishes ahead of Jochen Hahn and Sascha Lenz, while Clemens Hecker beats Steffi Halm to the line and gets another win in Chrome. Interestingly though, Mark Taylor and Bradley Smith both ended up on the podium to try and help their championship charges. After all of the fantastic racing that we'd already witnessed at Most in Czechia over the weekend, we were bound to have a final race to remember. It was Steffi Halm on pole position, with Clemens Hecker alongside and René Reinert in third position. Straight off the bat, Clemens Hecker had full boost as opposed to the Saturday, so he was able to hold his position a little bit better. Steffi Halm decided to just disappear over the horizon while everybody was fighting to get past the number 25. Once again, Clemens had all the Titan drivers packed up behind him, and moments like this certainly meant that he had to have his wits about him to hold on to his position. René Reinert and Antonio Albacete getting very friendly for their Titan spots. Norbert Kirsch boxed in here, unable to get past Jochen Hahn initially, but making it 3 wide down towards turn 6. Jochen Hahn was soon through and hoping to chase down Norby, but this bit of contact really had everybody's hearts in their mouths. Kish was soon getting past Sascha Lenz down the inside here at turn 15 and able to make it stick into the next left-hander. His next target was his ex-teammate Antonio Albacete, but the Spaniard was not making life easy. Steffi would be watching her mirrors as René, Antonio, Norby and Sascha were all closing in. It was once again another lovely display though from Norbert Kirsch making his way through the field, and this manoeuvre around the outside into the first chicane really cemented what a drive it was. A little bit of friendliness on the exit though meant that Sascha Lenz could try and come through as well. The German saw an opening and went for it down the inside before turn 6. Norbert was now in a podium position, but wanted to go on to take another victory to make it 3 for the weekend. Jochen Hahn and Antonio Albacete got friendly as well, Jochen putting his nose down the inside at turn 15, dislodging some bodywork and suddenly bringing Jose Eduardo Rodriguez into the picture. After race 3, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez and his team had to request to neutralise Parc Fermé, meaning they had to start from the back of the grid for this one. He'd driven all the way through the pack and was now fighting with the Titan drivers near the front. We don't normally do a driver of the day, but it was definitely one of the candidates for it. But Steffi Halm was up there as well, as she took her first race victory of the season ahead of René Reinert and Norbert Kirsch. A very, very popular result as ever, with Steffi on top. The Iveco driver took her first top step of the season after a whole multitude of podiums earlier on in the championship, re-cementing her form for this season and holding on to that third place in the championship, while Clemens Hecker also took third place in the Chrome Championship, doing a great job the weekend over and getting 3 wins.
And there she is, Steffi, and we'll grab her right before she even has a chance to jump over to her team. What an amazing race. Congratulations. How are you feeling now?
Yeah, it was perfect. The start was good. I had a little bit of gap, but then I was fighting with the truck, with the setup, so I just tried to go as fast as possible. In the end, it's getting close, so I was happy that the race was over.
You did well, and I think it was just perfect that we had 11 laps, because then it became closer and closer. Maybe as we walk, we can quickly also chit-chat with Clemens Hecker. but you really managed to stay in front for a very long time. And when was the point when you were like, I'm still first in Chrome, let them all pass?
I don't know, what, 2 laps? I think 2 laps, and then René touched me in the back, and so they are so close together, and when you leave one go, so the rest will follow. And I saved my points, so that I can't fight with them for my points, so let them go.
So Steffi Halm takes her first win of the season, and Clemens Hecker wraps up a brilliant weekend at Most. Norbert Kish now has a heavy championship lead going towards Zolder and the next round of the championship in 2 weeks' time, and the Chrome battle is just as good as ever. We'll see you in Belgium.